I'm going to be honest. If you actually are deciding to marry him, don't ask whether he's just religious and whatever. You want to understand how he transmutes his sexual energy. And what I mean by that is if he doesn't have an outlet, right? He doesn't have, there's a purpose or discipline or embodiment or any art, then 9 out of 10 times, he's not 99.999999. He's on corn. He's watching that shit. And essentially he's, drowning in this resentment and lack of empathy, essentially, because all he's used to are objectifying women. And like, look, hey, maybe you're cool with that. Bless your heart. But I think you should fucking know beforehand, right? Because the problem is that if you ignore that, you just end up with a man who hides everything, and he just turns cold and bitter and just emotionally dead. But at the same time, you also want to understand that men that don't do that, you'll find men that don't, like, they so, because they're like, oh, this is haram, which it is, right? Fucking corn. But at the same time, they haven't learned how to transmute that energy, right? So you see this with a lot of men that are very religious. You notice that when they repress their libido, that energy, you don't erase it. It just gets twisted, right? Because when you can't transmute that energy, it becomes judgment, right? It shows up, and Carl Jung speaks about this as well, is that it's jealousy and control. And then you see a lot of religious men that actually are quite misogynistic, because essentially they have all of this pent up energy and they have a healthy way to let go of it. So now, all of a sudden, he might start to look at you, sideways, and every single time that you wear cologne. And he's obsessing about your modesty because he can't control his own mind. So the truth is that maybe he's not even going to, it's so fucked. It's maybe his own shame, his own desire, and he's unable to really process his emotions and apply that discipline perhaps in his life. And you have to understand how normal it's become for men to say, watch that shit. For women as well, to be fair. Let's just be real. Which is like, okay, cool, you want to watch that? Cool. Right? But I'm just trying to make you understand that shit is literally, it's being a fiend. You are literally, it's almost, you are snorting lines on lines on lines. Essentially, it's the same shit that's happening to your brain. So you have to understand, someone that watches that shit morning, day, and night, essentially as them that fucking sniffing up lines. There's no difference. And it's actually more scary because it's been so normalized.